Good evening. A jury has found that a 77-year-old bus driver caused the death of a child and a pensioner in Coventry by dangerous driving. The bus crashed into a supermarket, killing 7-year-old Rowan Fitzgerald, who was sitting at the front of the top deck. Dora Hancock's was a pedestrian who was hit by the bus and a falling lamppost. Kailash Chander, a former mayor of Leamington, who's now 80, didn't appear in court today as he has dementia. Our reporter Joan Cummins has been following the case and joins us now from Coventry City Centre. Joan.
Yes, Birmingham Crown Court has been hearing evidence about that horrific day in October 2015. They heard that Kailash Chander had worked for Midlands Red for decades. He'd retired at 65 but continued to work for 12 years. He'd been disciplined about his driving. He'd been warned not to drive when he was tired, but he continued to work 75-hour weeks. Panic on the pavements of Coventry as a bus veers out of control. Today, a judge praised the bravery of Teal Portlock, seen in a dark sweatshirt, for raising the alarm. CCTV shows the brief but fatal journey of the double-decker bus pulling out, mounting the curb, colliding with flagpoles, a pedestrian, before careering into a supermarket. The driver, Kailash Chander, had retired from Midlands Red but continued doing shifts. He was 77 and in the run-up to the crash had been working 75 hours a week. In the months before the fatal accident, he'd had 4 accidents and been disciplined over the standard of his driving. He's now 80 and was declared unfit to stand trial due to a form of dementia. Casper Mudhina was the last passenger to board the X18 in Coventry on that day in October 2015, just seconds before the driver pressed the accelerator and failed to brake.
I thought I was going to die. If you imagine yourself, you're in a bus, out of control, it's hitting everything, people, buildings, and building is coming towards you, not like slowly, but it was speeding up. Then you don't know what's going to happen with the impact of building and the bus. That impact is going to be severe.
76-year-old Dora Hancock's was hit by the bus on its out-of-control 80-metre journey. 7-year-old Rowan Fitzgerald was on the top deck and died when the bus was embedded in the shop.
I could hear other passengers, there were loads of screams, people screaming all over in the bus.
It's feared that the injury toll could have been much worse if it hadn't been for the actions of a passerby. He saw the bus veering out of control and screamed at crowds. CCTV shows them running for their lives. Midlands Red, the employer, have pleaded guilty to health and safety breaches. Today, the judge said it was total stupidity that Mr. Chander had been allowed to drive. A national bus driver training expert says both operators and drivers have responsibilities to passengers.
It's also about the organisation accepting that if someone is having collisions or having a few issues, that it is addressed with something effective. So putting in an intervention that's actually going to work rather than just reminding them of their responsibilities.
There should be a change in the law because at that age and the number of hours, that was too much.
You waited for accidents all the time.
Midlands Red issued a brief statement saying they were deeply sorry for the heartache of those affected and wanted to learn detailed lessons from what had happened.
Joan, the details of the background to this tragedy are quite shocking. What are the families of the victims saying this evening?
Well, the families have wished to sort of maintain privacy. Has been extremely upsetting. They've had to sit and learn exactly what had gone on in those seconds when their loved ones were taken so tragically from them. They've issued a statement though tonight. This is the family of Rowan saying, and I quote, "We don't want the reasons why Rowan and Dora died to be forgotten. We want to see something positive come from this at this time, and we feel only a change in law on bus drivers' age and hours of work will do this. They said this would prevent anybody else having to go through the heartache they've been through over the last 3 years. And I've just spoken to their local MP, who said that he is planning to meet the family and sit down with them and see whether he can help sort of log something with the Secretary of State to call for a change in the law.
And of course, we've just seen that film of a bystander waving people away. Without his actions, it could have been so much worse, couldn't it?
It's absolutely incredible. That man, you know, he saw the bus veering out of control and he screamed. It was a busy Saturday afternoon. This gets really busy here. People ran for their lives and the judge said he deserves something for his bravery, undoubtedly saving lives.
Joan, thank you. Now, it's illegal and